Alright, we're back. We're back with a bit of composition study. And a brew of course. An impromptu session. Bit of an impromptu session, but I wanted to get back onto this this puzzle. Because I think I made some progress with it. You know, it was ticking away in the back of the old mind. So I'm going to try and put some lines on the board now and see if we got anywhere. You know, it's good arrow practice as well. You know, drawing the arrows. Chess streaming 101. All right, let's have a look at this baby then. And if you're new to the stream, this is a stream segment where we try to solve a user contributed or a subscriber contributed composition. Now, you don't have to have composed it yourself. Maybe you suggest it, but in this case, the subscriber has actually composed the problem. So shout outs to Gainsworth. Alright, so we looked at a bunch of stuff in video 1 that took us an hour, and then in the second hour we looked at a bunch of other stuff. And I think we made some progress, and I think we found a line that looked like it had some promise. And that line was bishop takes b4. Now then, this is a tactical or a temporary defense of the rook on e7. Right, prevents king e7 because then we'll just take the queen. Okay, and then we'll have a material advantage. Only a small one, but still. White's definitely better there. So, bishop b4 is going to be cb. Well, that's what we're looking at. Okay, and then what do? We play the move. Let's get the arrows right. Come on, that's what we're doing. Queen e2. And the threat then is queen e5, which is mate. Right, notice that the bishop is holding onto the c6 square, or it's covering it, preventing king c6. In the event of, so let's put this back on the board. In the event of queen landing on e5, the king wants the c6 escape square. So black plays queen takes a4. So that's the position we're looking at. Is that forced? Is queen takes a4 forced? Is a good question. Actually, queen a5 isn't mate. Queen e5, sorry, is not a checkmate. Alright, because the c5 square is available. But still, we should look at queen a4. Let's go back if queen a4 doesn't work. Queen takes a4. Alright, so I'm going to play queen e5 check. And there are two legal moves here. There's queen c6, which seems like not the right way of doing it if you're black. I think you want to go to the dark square. Seems like you have more flexibility there. Okay, so king's now on c5. And this position is not hard to understand, actually. Right? All we have to do is take these two bishops off the board, plonk our queen on e5. I can't draw that arrow, but the queen is going to e5. Take this bishop off the board and replace it with a pawn, and put the queen on a4. Alright, so we've got queen here, a pawn here. This no longer exists. The bishop here no longer exists. And the queen is on e5. And the king is on c5. Okay, now there are a lot of moves here. I looked at rook b7, I looked at rook c7 check, and I looked at queen c7 check, but the move I like the most is queen e3. Queen e3 is a move that I like. So let's just put the whole line on the board so you can see. Bishop takes b4, c takes b4, queen e2, queen takes a4, red. Queen e5 check, king c5, queen e3 check. Okay, queen e3 check. Now here, there's not that many moves. There's king b5, we'll come back to that. There's king c6, we'll come back to that. And the only other legal move is king back to d6, which for me looks like the most natural move. Now here, it was my impression, now that the queen has made its way to e3, remember, it was on e2. It's my impression that rook takes a7 is a good move. It hits the queen. The first question to answer is, what if black just cashes out, gives up the queen for the rook? We're then in a position where we have a queen and a rook against two rooks, two minor pieces. Hammer a pawn down. They've got two connected passes on the queen side, but their king is wobbly. Has to be said, it's a wobbly king. But it's not obvious to me that that position is winning. It looks bad for black. It looks difficult, but yeah, what's the immediate threat? Rook takes b4, so you could play b3. Guess. We'd have to look at that position. But that, I mean, do we have to go down that line? If they try to save the queen, this is what motivated me looking at this line. They can do it in a couple of ways. Well, I guess they can do it in 3 ways. Because by the way, in this position that we're looking at, just after rook takes a7, white is actually threatening to play queen e7 check, forcing king c6 and then queen c7. And that means that queen b5 is not possible, because queen b5 will block the b5 square from the king, and that will be a checkmate. Right, so we can rule out queen b5 in this position. What's the position? The rook's captured on a7. Our queen is on e3. This bishop is not there. This bishop is not there. The queen is there. This bishop is not there. Pawn is there. And the king is on d6. You know where it is now. It stands where it is now. Alright, so you can't play queen b5 there. Right? That you get mated in 2. What about queen c6? Then you get mated in 1. Queen e7 will be made there. Okay, so for me the most natural move actually would be to play queen d8. e8, sorry, queen e8 to the light square. And I think oof. Okay, so yeah. There's queen b6. Then there's queen c6. Okay. That looks fine. Can't see a move after... Or can I? Queen b6, queen c6, queen takes b4. That looks like you're getting toasted. Do we have to calculate that line to the end? Were these the best moves for black? I mean, I'm going to have to start moving pieces soon. I'm trying not to do that, but I'm going to have to start doing it. But no, that looks difficult. Queen c6, queen b6, queen c6. Then I think we could throw in a queen b4 check. I mean, either the king makes its way to the e-file where it's going to be subject to further checks. Oh, maybe, yeah, I don't think you can do that either. It starts to look, it's really difficult on the dark squares, you know. The queen landing on e7, you know, for example, if you play king d7 in that position, queen e7 is mate. Ah, okay, so, okay, can you play queen c5? Now, against queen c5, I reckon rook a6 is going to win the queen. A whole queen, because if you try bishop c6, then there's rook d1 check. And the queen's gone. Whole queen. Okay, so in that line we just looked at, which is this line. Bishop takes b4, cd, queen e2, queen takes a4, queen e5 check, king c5, queen e3, king d6, rook takes a7, queen e8, queen b6 check, queen c6, queen takes b4 check. Okay, in that position there's no king e6 because queen e7 is mate, right? So if you don't want to lose your queen by playing queen c5, you have to play king e5. You know, in times like this, I'm like, why am I going down this line? Were there any better moves? But I think a part of me also is thinking, well, I have to get to the end of this line, right? Because if this line, if there's no mate in this line, then my moves don't work, right? I have to mate my opponent and then go back and see if there were any improvements. And I guess what's key to good chess calculation is that your intuitive moves that you put down first in that line that you create, that you then go and try and improve upon, are good moves. And that's what I'm not sure about. I'm not sure about king c5. I'm not sure about queen d8. This is difficult. Anyway, the king has gone to the e-file. To e5, and that's different because queen e7 now the piece can land on e6. Okay. The natural move is rook e1 check. Rook e1 check, and that forces king f4, right? You can't go to f6 because there's queen e7. Again, it's mate. So you go to f4. Okay, now it looks, come on, there has to be a knockout. And there is. Queen e3 is a mate. All right, we got to a checkmate. We got to a checkmate after queen d8. Let's put that line on the board. The king got mated on f4. This is brilliant. This is brilliant. All right, bishop takes b4. We'll check this afterwards. cb. Queen e2. Queen takes a4. Queen e5 check. King c5. Queen e3. King d6. Rook takes a7. Now I'm worried about queen takes a7, but anyway, let's come back to that. Queen d8. Queen b6. I guess in that position there is a king e5. But I think it's going to meet the same fate. And actually, it's a bit different. Oh, by the way, after rook e1, there's bishop e4. Anyway, let's go queen c6. Queen takes b4. King e5. Rook e1 check. Okay, now there is bishop e4, which I think is forced, because on both king f6, on king f6, queen e7 is mate, and on king f4, queen e3 is mate. So you've got to play bishop e4. Also, there's a queen on c6 as well. bishop e4. Oh, hang on, our queen's on b4, not b6. So actually, there's no queen e3. So on bishop, oh sorry, on king, if the king lands on f4, how are we mating? I think instead there's queen d2. Queen d2 is mate. Yeah. Okay. Now in this position after bishop e4, we can play queen c3. Yeah, but unfortunately then there is a rook d4. That's annoying. Okay, so we could play rook e7 check. And what we really want to play is queen e7 check. Ooh, queen e7 check, queen e6. Ha! Sorry, queen e6, and then there's rook a5 check. Oh god, then there's rook e4. Where's my queen? E7. Okay, maybe there's a better move. Oh god, that's just too complicated. All right, let's just look at queen takes a7. I mean, it looks like the king's getting mated. Right, I'd be so surprised if there's not a mate there. But there was a rook d5. Rook d5, could we play rook d5 check? That would force king d5. Then we could take the bishop with check. After which we win the queen. I think. Oh, I'm going to say that. I'm going to say that line's done. All right. By the way, let's investigate some other things just to see if there's anything quicker. So, queen e2. Queen takes a4. Queen e5. King e5. What about queen? What about rook c7? The thing about rook c7 is it allows bishop c6. Yeah, does it though? Then there's queen e7. Rook d6. Nah. I don't like rook c7. Somehow. What about queen c7? Queen c7 check. By the way, that's a red arrow. Queen c7 check. I guess this allows queen c6 and bishop c6. Or king b5. b5 is kind of annoying though. How do you proceed after king b5? I think there's rook takes b4. Queen b4, no. Wait, see, I don't like that. Queen c7, king b5. Okay, rook c7, king b6. No, I don't like that either. A really good move there is actually rook b7, because that threatens queen c7, but I guess there's always bishop c6. You want to take hold on the dark squares and not let this bishop move, I think. So it does fall back to like queen e3 being the move. Okay, so let's take these moves for granted from now on. queen e3, right? d6 looks like it makes the most sense. The other options, let's check them out. So king b5 in that position. King b5 in that position. Now I like rook b7, right? The d5 bishop is pinned here. So I quite like rook b7 check. Probably king a6. And then I think there's a bunch of different ways that you can win. Oh, there's a bunch of moves that look great. Rook takes b4. Oh, hang on, isn't there also... No, hang on, the bishop's not pinned. The queen's on e3. This is silly. Can't play rook. Can't play rook b4. Alright, so king went to b5. Rook b8. Rook b7, sorry. Talking nonsense. Okay, so what can we do? We can play rook takes a7. Again. God, is that position good? Okay, so this transposes, I think. Sort of transposes. It's different. The king is in a different place. I'm not convinced that position's better. Alright, let's seriously look at that. So bishop takes b4. cb. We should have done this first. Queen e2, queen takes a4, queen e5, king c5, queen e3 check, king d6. Oh, this song sounds like is it Wicked Game by Chris Isaacs? It does. It sounds like Wicked Game. Okay, serious question though. What do you do here? Queen e5 would repeat moves, so that's definitely not the solution. And if you play rook a7, which was the big move I had in mind, actually, they've got rook moves like only rook b8, rook ge8 as well. That doesn't work. We've got queen f4. Okay, so that does not work. Queen f4 was a check. What if they just take us? What if they take on a7? We go, thank you very much. Queen takes a7. This material balance. Suppose they play b3. You know, they protect with like rook b8. I gotta be honest, I just don't believe that. I don't believe in that position. I just don't believe in it. I don't think that's winning. Intuitively, I just don't think it is. Too much material. You know, it's a rook, two bishops, a rook, three minor pieces, and a pawn for a queen. We'd have to mop up at least a rook. Oh no, it's not. It's 2 minor pieces. 2 minor pieces at rook and pawn. Okay. Oh, maybe. So let's put that move on rook b8. We should be able to refute that if this is the solution. Where's the king? d6. Okay, rook e1. I guess there's also queen a6 check. Rook e1, rook g8. Doesn't look like a clear win to me. But maybe it is, maybe. That's so hard to evaluate. Is that... There is a solution. I mean, that looks like the best position I've seen. Okay, there's one other line to think about. I think there's one other move to think about. Queen takes a4, queen e5, king c5. Right, now rook b5, rook b7. Right here, rook b7 only. Now the threat's probably queen c7. Okay, so what if they play rook d7? Can we refute that? Okay, I'm nearing having to make a decision. On what I think the correct move is. And you know, if I didn't get it, I didn't get it. This is a hard puzzle. So let's go over what we did. Rook d7 just looks bad because of rook takes d7. Bishop f4 check. King takes e7. Queen e2. King c2. Doesn't seem to lead anywhere. I don't believe in that. Bishop g5, hg, queen e2. There's just bishop c3. There's also things like bishop e4 and queen takes a4, so it's just not working. Rook b1, just bishop takes d2. Queen b2, we couldn't refute c3. We looked at rook takes a7, but couldn't really see what was wrong with queen a7. So I'm gonna have to consult the engine. Turn on the best move arrow. We also looked at rook takes b4, both before and after bishop g5. So rook b4, cb, bishop takes b4, queen takes b4, queen e2, queen takes a4. I mean, this position is the same, but we just don't have a rook on b1, so that this must be worse. Yeah. This rook on b1 can't be a hindrance. So I think the first move has to be bishop takes b4 by a process of elim. Now then, here we go. Best move arrow. Okay. This feels like a nervous moment. I don't think I got it right. Let's go. All right, we got the first move correct. We got the first move correct, and that's good news. Excellent. Okay, I mean, that's got to go down as a plus. We got the first move correct. So bishop takes b4. Okay, cb. Okay, the move we put on the board was queen e2. Is that the correct move? It is. Queen e2. Okay, we looked at queen takes a4. It's probably not the only move, but I mean that has to be the one that you know, it has to be the one that you look at, right? Oh, you know what I see now? There is actually queen e3. But I doubt that's the right move. So by the way, here we looked at queen e5. That was what I thought would be the move. We also looked at rook d1, and we thought that queen takes d1 was just gonna win, because that will force queen takes d1, and then we lose the e7 rook. So not rook d1. You know what also we didn't think about at all was rook takes b4 in this position. So I'm going to spend a little time now, you know, just checking out this position. Two many pieces down and 2 pawns, but this king is obviously wobbly. What's the point of rook b4? Does it threaten anything? I think it does, yeah. Okay, so if they just take the rook, is this a spectacular decoy? Queen e5, king c5. Rook c7. King b6. Yeah, it's not there. Okay, so this is so now we can see more clearly the lines that I was looking at. So queen e5, king c5, and then I thought queen e3. Queen e3, king d6, rook takes a7 was the line I was looking at. And my thoughts were that queen a7, queen takes a7, b3, or rook b8 might be okay. Okay, so after queen e5, king c5, rook c7, queen c7, or queen e5, or queen e3. Is the solution rook takes b4 or queen e5? I think it has to be queen e5, so... Well, came this far. Queen e5. Yep. So far so good. Now, where do they want to put the king? First let's deal with king c6. Now the thing here is like it's the feature of the kill box, which is that in really nice kill box puzzles, the opponent's pieces are on one color complex and your queen and rook are on another color complex. Here we've got the dark squares and they're on the light squares. That was what's brilliant about giving you bishop up on a4. So playing king c6, you don't want to go on the light squares because that's where you're going to get mated, right? If you imagine a queen on b5 in this position, and the king goes to c6, rook c7 is mate. The queen's not on b5, but rook c7 just looks very tempting. But there's also queen c7. Both of these moves force king b5. So if we just put the king on b5 and remember that we've got two-piece configurations we could have there. Okay, I think the line rook c7... Actually, no, king can go to b6 after rook c7. Okay, so queen c7, king b5. King c6, so let's just go. So king c6, rook c7, king goes to b6. I feel like we don't want that. If I can't solve it from here, I didn't have much chance today. King c6, queen c7, king b5. Right, let's put the right color arrows in. King c6, queen c7, king b5. It's not obvious how to continue from there. I don't think. Yeah, unless it's rook b4 check. Rook b4 check. I mean, there's king b4 even. So probably not that. Okay, we need a brilliant move after king c6 then. See it. I think rook b4 is coming in at some point. Right, so whole point we've got this rook. Does it work? King c6, queen c7, king b5, rook takes b4. If king b4, continue to protect. a7. I don't think there's any checks even in that position. So that looks like now it's happening. Nothing, we also say. Okay, so king c6. What? Is it rook b4 there with the idea? That must be, that threatens queen c7 mate. Then we got queen takes b4, and then we have queen c7, king b5, and the difference here is that we have queen takes a7. And it looks like, but we don't threaten anything from there, so I don't think that's it. So why can't they play king c6? Wow. Oh, you know what I think it is? Yeah, I saw this at some point. I've forgotten about it. There's rook a1 is in the position. Alright, so king c6. Maybe king c7. Rook c7, sorry. King b6. Rook a1. Oh mate, there's gonna be a rook a1 at some point, and it's just gonna be deadly. Surely. So let's try and work out the line. So king c6, rook c7, check, king b6. And then we throw in rook a1, queen check, a check on the queen. What do you want to do about that? Probably queen c6. Oh no, the rook's on c7. Okay. Queen b5? Or queen b3, queen c2? No, but actually you can't do that, because you can just play queen takes a1 check. Queen takes a1. King takes c7. So that just doesn't work. Straight up does not work. Okay, so maybe the answer is to meet king c6 with rook a1. While the light squares are, because then there's no king b5, there's no queen b5, because then queen c7 is made, so not that. Okay, and if they take our rook, check, queen a1, we're actually threatening queen a6, king c5, rook c7, and then that looks good because we're still on a rampage. Okay, so king c6, you know, and this might be the solution to king c5 as well. Rook a1 the whole time. Let's keep going with king c6 because we got quite far. We didn't finish it off. Rook a1. So queen b5 is not possible. So all moves like queen a, any queen move which just allows a queen to be captured without regaining the rook obviously doesn't work. So the only moves that really look like they make any sense are queen takes a1, queen a3, queen b3, and queen c2. Now, surely you can't do queen b3 or queen c2 because then the rook is going to land on a6, giving check. Nah, that's just not happening. Moreover, like a7 is hanging and stuff, so that's not going to work. So and I don't believe in queen a3 because we take the queen and then, you know, we're probably going to pick up the a3 pawn. The king looks loose. Sure, it get mated. All right, so how about his queen takes a1? I guess is the question. All right, so king c6, rook a1, queen takes a1 check, queen takes a1, and defend against queen getting to a6. How do you do that? Queen a6 and queen a7 both look very bad. Guess you could play rook d7. Queen a6 check. Okay, and then you're losing the rook, so you can't do that. That looks like the best shot to me. After king c6. Rook a1. Queen c7. King b5. I can't see him. I can't see a move after that. Okay, we need to look at king c5 as well. I bet it's the same. Okay, king c6. I'm gonna put it on the board. I think it has to be rook a1. Rook a1 is what I'm saying. And rook a1. So I can only assume then that on queen takes a1, check, queen a1, white has an edge. Bunch of different moves, but rook g8 is the strongest. Wow. Rook takes a7, yeah. Okay. Now, that kind of position, this is where my intuition needs to improve, because I look at that position and think, you know, it looks like it's tight. If this material ever gets going for black, you know, white's going to be fighting. But I guess the king is just so loose and there's so much space over there on the queen side that that's just not going to happen. But I find that hard to accept when, you know, you see the position from afar, or even when you look at it like just now on the board. All right, so the only other thing is what happens on king c5 is a draw. Hang on. All right, what did we do wrong? Huh? This is weird. Engine saying it's a draw. Okay. Oh, I was looking for a win. Have I got the right position? This is mad. I have got the right position. So all along it's white to play and draw. Mad. Fair. Unless the engine just can't see here because of the horizon effect. Yeah, rook a1 again. I think that okay, I was looking at b3. Engine is saying c3. Queen a5. Yeah. Okay, so my intuition was sort of right, that there's no win here. Or I couldn't see one. Well, actually, I mean, I spent a long time on other moves before I considered rook a1. In fact, I didn't really even consider that from afar. Wow, okay. So let's just investigate king c5. Rook a1 is the only way to draw. Queen d7, rook d7. c3, queen a5 check. That's what the engine wants. But there's a lot of drawing moves here, so... What about b3? Did b3 lose? b3 loses, that's hilarious. I guess the king's on c5. Okay, let's have a look at my line that I spent a lot of time thinking about, which was queen e3. Okay, yeah, king c6. King d6. King d6 is a draw again by repetition, right, okay. King c6, right. Yeah, okay. Oh, wow. Okay, yeah, that is better for black somehow. Difference is, I guess, that this rook isn't active and they go rook a8, according to the engine. Alright, well that was a process. That was a process, and we found the best line, and we found almost all the best moves. We spent a lot of time thinking about inferior moves and didn't find anything conclusive, but I guess when the time came to play the moves, we did find them. So that's good. This has been a lot of fun. Shout-outs to Gainsworth for the composition, not just suggestion, contribution. How many other subs going to contribute compositions as worthy as this one of 3 hours of content? Yeah, answer me that. You no viewers out there. Okay, my other move that I had was rook e2. Let's just make sure that, yeah, our refutations were on point. Yeah, okay, black's better there. Only just. Rook d7 is bad. Rook takes d7. Ooh. Bishop g5 we spent a lot of time on. Takes, queen e2, and... Okay, queen e4, bishop c3, and bishop e4 are all good. Yep, and then the only other thing we checked out was rook takes b4. Yeah, we've just got nothing here. It's the same position, but we don't have the rook on b1. Alright. Where did we go? Alright, gonna fall into some blindfold shortly. But yeah. Alright. I'll see you next time on Football Vision. Hey, why did the board go? A bit messed up. Oh, I hope that's not been like that the whole time. Alright, see you later.